All right. You know what? Let's go ahead and start. I think we have enough participants to start with. So once again, thank you all for taking time to join us on this Thursday afternoon. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And by the way, I'm not in San Francisco, I'm in Dallas. So Tachyon is based out of Dallas. So thank you all for joining today. It's a webinar plus a panel discussion. So we wanted to make it interactive. So we didn't want to stick to a typical webinar format. So there would be, I'm your moderator, by the way, and we'll get to panel introductions in a second. So we would like to make it as interactive as possible. So today's topic is next gen intelligent enterprise. So for some of us who are very familiar with the SAP landscape, SAP doesn't want to call themselves as ERP anymore. They would like to call as intelligent enterprise software, helping organizations become intelligent through enterprise solutions is their motive. So we would like to kind of talk about that and also data-driven decision making. And we will kind of go through the problems that customers face and also what SAP provides as solutions for these problems. So we at Tachyon hope that you're all staying safe, washing your hands, keeping social distance, and all of the other fun stuff to make you and your loved ones safe and healthy. So a few housekeeping pointers before we start. We've tried to make this discussion as interactive as possible, like I mentioned. So you will have a few questions coming your way as well, so you get to participate. And these will be a very simple multiple choice questions, so you can later use to determine your organization's current analytics landscape. During the panel discussion, if you feel like asking the panelists a question, you may do so by typing the question in the comment section. And we do have time dedicated to answer all your questions today. And we'll also do that, probably during the webinar itself or towards the end of the webinar. So we'll see how that goes. So I wanted to kind of, start off with a little Corona COVID joke. But, with so many out there, it's a pandemic. Pandemic, you get it, right? Okay. So that's with that out of the way. So I was just about, like 2 days back, I was reading a beautiful article on McKinsey.com, just how COVID is influencing analytics to become the primary goal objective of various organizations. So accelerating analytics to navigate COVID-19 is the article from McKinsey.com. I would highly encourage you to go read that a little bit. And it just kind of talks about organizations are standing up their analytics capabilities in a matter of weeks so that they can inform business responses to COVID-19 challenges and prepare for the future. So as we know, analytics supports numerous urgent tasks facing businesses today: forecasting demand, identifying potential supply chain disruptions, targeting support services to at-risk workers, and determining the effectiveness of crisis intervention strategies, to name a few. So fundamental message here is that analytics, with so many organizations having invested in their ERPs, now there's a lot of data that's accumulated. So the time has come where you got to use analytics to make use of that data in your ERP systems. So let's meet our panelists for today. So we have Sujoe Bose. He's an chef whose flavor or spice of choice is AI. Now, I don't know how good he is in the real kitchen. He calls himself as an IT chef. With the heart of a developer and mind of an architect, he excels in creating innovative solutions that bring AI and its capabilities into the mainstream. With over 2 decades of IT experience, he has crafted and implemented systems in all aspects of large enterprises and startups alike. He is an accomplished author and authoritative speaker across several academic and industry conferences. He holds a PhD in computer science and engineering from the University of Texas at Arlington. Sujoe, welcome to the panel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Githen Ronney is our next panelist. He's a data evangelist, passionate about showcasing the positive impact data makes in our daily lives. He trusts data to an extent that all his personal decisions too are made using data. Jokes apart, he firmly believes the power of data to revolutionize the world of decision making. With over 15 years of exclusive data analytics experience, Githen enabled multiple organizations across the world in their data journey using SAP analytics technology. He's a Bachelor of Computer Science and a certified SAP analytics consultant. Githen, welcome to the panel.
Thanks, Kishore, and good morning, all of you. I'm very excited to be part of this.
Thank you. And finally, this is me, Kishore, and I am Senior Director at Tachyon, heading their S4HANA and SAP Cloud practice. I have about 2 decades of SAP experience, covering all aspects of SAP, implementation, solution delivery, project management, team leadership. So I'm excited as well to be interacting with these 2 panelists, and hopefully I get to learn from these guys today. All right, so let's begin. We do have, very quickly the agenda for today is, probably first few minutes spent with Sujoe, understanding the challenges around data analytics, primarily how customers are facing some of their problems in the analytics space. Then we're going to get into solutions that are available, primarily focus a little more on SAP solutions. And then we'll also kind of share a little bit on how Tachyon, how we help our customers in the analytics space, and also probably go through a couple of case studies with you guys. So that's the agenda for today. With that, let me open up my very first question to Sujoe and also to all your participants out there. So you're going to get a little polling question pop up. Please go ahead and answer that. And we'll also look at the results once Sujoe completes his, talking through some of the challenges. So Sujoe, the question is, what challenges you think our organizations are facing today around data analytics?
Thanks, Kishore, for the question. As we all know, several organizations, they have embarked on initiatives around data and analytics. Opportunities such as digital transformations have created an unprecedented data deluge. On the other hand, the dynamics of the environment have also changed because of the pandemic and other factors. This causes strain on the businesses and in some cases invalidating some of the models that have been established already. So data science initiatives have mushroomed across the board with a lot of funding as well, but not all of them have the maturity life cycle plotted out and not having established the right platform that enables it to go from just a mere science experiment to attaining business value. That's where it comes to fruition. One of the significant challenges that organizations face is in how well these solutions can scale with the amount of data and the speed of data that comes in that needs to be analyzed, and informed decisions can be taken in a timely manner, and businesses and the environment itself being much more dynamic. So also with both structured and unstructured data, which have pretty much skyrocketed over the past few years, the challenge is in being able to process these, like in a typical scenario, you might even run into with moderate history, close to about terabytes of data that will have to be analyzed, comprehended in order to produce models that can be used in analytics to predict and to forecast the future. Some of the data elements have also poor quality associated with it because of legacy systems and systems that require free-form input from users. So all data has meaning, right? There's signals that will have to be separated out from off of the noise, and this has to be done in a timely manner to the scale that we're looking at with stability as well. The number of systems that have increased over the course of this past few years, some have been dispersed into the cloud, SaaS-based models have come up, and this results in data that sometimes becomes inaccessible and separated out, which now needs to be brought back in, renormalized, and what we call confound dimensions. And all of these has to be put in place in a very predictable manner, right? So that becomes a challenge as well. The other issue is in the selection of tools. You have a plethora of tools that are available for different purposes, and each of these will have to be carefully selected. What I call as the impedance mismatch between these tools will have to be minimized, and all of them will have to be operated at scale. And now with the many failure points in the whole pipeline, all of this has to be a solution that will be well-oiled, streamlined, and can scale to the demands of both the data coming in and the needs of the enterprise. Last but not the least, there's a great need for an end-to-end analytic solution. And that will span all the way from data stewardship, integration and cleansing data, bringing it all in, but also to the analytics portion, delivery of insights, and for faster decision making. So the models that are being used, they have to be continuously relearned as we can understand from this whole dynamics that have changed. So which means now the data has changed. Fundamentally, the assumptions have changed, and the models will now have to be relearned. They'll have to be retrained and redeployed in a predictive manner, right? And so why we need to have it relearned? Well, because of the behavioral changes, the patterns have changed, and we need to continuously adapt to the changing landscape as well. So this essentially kind of calls for entire machine learning operations, like we call it, ML ops, and an entire pipeline has to be there, and associated stability, scalability, monitoring, security becomes a key player in there. Proper A/B testing needs to be in there for the models themselves, and the entire 9 yards, right? So having this integrated solution is what we are looking at. So in the next few minutes, we'll look at some of the solutioning, Kishore. So that's what we're looking at more from the challenges that organizations face today.
Okay, thanks, Sujoe. So just catching on to one of the ones you mentioned about ML, machine learning. So do you think that's the future of analytics?
Of course, yes.
By machine learning then?
Yeah, there are different, of course, grades. So you do have some of the descriptive analytics, which has to be still in place. We need to know how well our business is doing, but also not just having the rear view mirror, but also having the forward-looking predictive capabilities so that we can position ourselves, position the business in the midst of the changing landscape. So being able to adapt to the entire scenario.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I guess we have the polling results in. Can we take a look at them? All right. So Sujoe, I'll let you comment on this.
Right. And it kind of reflects on not just the few organizations that we talked to, but in pretty much a large scale, having the right quality of data, being able to represent the data in multiple dimensions. You have, in some cases, thousands of dimensions that will have to be visually represented, which is hard to comprehend. But again, putting it through machines that can look at it and learn it makes it possible as well. So these are definitely challenges that will have to be solutioned in any enterprise. Being able to process real-time data and data being inaccessible, which is also a considerable challenge now that with all this different solutions that are spread out across different clouds and SaaS-based models. Now we need to bring all that data into a common platform that can then be leveraged.
Right. Okay, so no surprises here, right? I mean, poor quality of data and visual representation of data comes like top two. pain points. So,
Along with
all
the
right.
next.
All right, thank you. So I guess, so, you know, with the rise of the experience economy, so if you again follow SAP's, the SAP's roadmap, HCM is not HCM, Human Capital Management anymore. They're renaming it as HXM, Human Experience Management. So they experience in every aspect of their solutions. So with the rise of experience economy and emergence of the millennial workforce, you know, people obviously are demanding more, and SAP is responding. So let's ask Githen how SAP has responded to help enterprises advance their analytics capabilities. And Githen, maybe, you know, you can walk us through how SAP is stepping up and what solutions they're providing in this space.
Of course, Kishore. Kishore, I always say we are living in a world where there is no scarcity of data. In fact, it is getting doubled in every 18 months. So we are talking about data in zettabyte terms, so you can imagine how much of the data we are talking about. And ultimate aim of any analytics solution is to enable customers to find invaluable insights by distilling through their own data. So kind of, you know, SAP has orchestrated their entire data solutions in around 4 areas, like span of the data, kind of, you know, the sources of the data, then amount of data, it deals with the storage of the data, then quality, poor quality of data we already mentioned, so SAP has listened already, then ultimately the usage of the data. Okay, so when we talk about the span of the data, data can be of any size, any form, and it can reside anywhere. So that brings the span of the data. And on one side, most of the organizations are generating data, or, you know, sitting on a huge pile of ERP data, which they have been generating over a period of time. And, on the other side, we are all acting as data generating machines through numerous applications with the comfort of our mobile phones. And over and above, we have a lot of CCTV footage, sensor data, etc. So, you know, if you look at the solution from SAP, you know, SAP has this beautiful solution they introduced recently. It's known as data intelligence, which helps customers to bring a never imaginable value to the table by ultimately harnessing data from all these unstructured, structured data sources. And the idea is we should never limit any data intelligence platform, for that matter, to a certain set of data sources. Or in other words, we should not underestimate the power of any data point, basically. So Sujoe had talked about multiple data points. So we should never, ever underestimate the potential of a data points in this modern world. So for example, just to give an example, if we combine ERP data of your product or any material data with the feedback systems through Twitter tweets, you can imagine the value you are bringing into your organization for decision making. You are bringing the very real customer experience to your boardroom meetings as well. Okay, so then SAP orchestrated another solution based on the amount of data or this data storage. So I don't have to stress enough on this one because all of us are aware about SAP HANA potential and how it works, its scalability, its columnar storage, massively parallel operating environment, and in-memory computing. So I'm not going to stress more on that one. Then when we talk about the quality of data by itself don't make any sense unless and until you transform it, you process it, and dig information out of it. So as always say, right, only high quality data can provide you high quality information. So on this regard, the most powerful solution or the latest solution from SAP is BW4HANA. It is an amalgamation of the robustness of BW software, which we have been knowing quite a long time. And then, robustness of BW coupled with the high performance of HANA engine. And SAP has a new cloud offerings also, which is data warehousing cloud. It's just introduced 1.5 years back. And then undoubtedly, BW has been the brightest star in the entire SAP Analytics product portfolio constellation. Then comes perhaps the most important and most interesting area, which is visualization or the usage of data. This helps to, very high level objectify your subjective assumptions and bridges the gap between IT and, decision-making team. So the most important or the latest entry into this area is SAP Analytics Cloud, which is kind of unique. One simple cloud approach enables SAC to deliver business intelligence, planning, and prediction in a very, very seamless manner. Okay, so Kishore, this is all about SAP. How
so that's what, right? So that's what they're kind of coming as a broader buckets of solution they provide in the space now. But kind of take it a little more deeper, right? So how does this fit into? So if I'm looking at an organization that's trying to implement SAP Analytics for the first time, so kind of walk us through that deeper dive of these solutions and how they fit into an organization.
Okay, so yes, Kishore, definitely. So along the same lines with SAP, we believe data is the new age oil, which in turn propels organizations to grow to the next level or scale new heights. So we equip them to exploit the complete potential of their own data using right solutions from SAP product portfolio, or we can even couple SAP solutions with, for example, Celonis for process mining to optimize the business process of the organizations. Or even SAP data can be coupled with open source languages like Python and R for AML use cases. So let me quickly touch upon SAP's intelligent enterprise concept over here. As we all know that SAP is in the process of kind of integrating, unifying, and even consolidating all their solutions into a concept called intelligent enterprise, which mainly comprises of three sections, which is intelligent suite, intelligent technologies, and intelligent platform. And we already talked about the intelligent platform, which is nothing but SAP HANA. And intelligent suite mainly revolves around all of the OLTP solutions from SAP. And intelligent technologies is today's focus, because that talks about data and data related areas. So when we talk about SAP is betting heavily on data and data related areas like AML, SAP Analytics Cloud, BW4 HANA, etc. So in the grand scheme of things, it is very clear that SAP's intelligent enterprise concept is completely based on the data engines. So that takes us to, how we can help us to, help our customers to, embark on this journey. So at the outset, we help our customers to take informed decisions by crunching their own data to find patterns, trends, and insight. So we can all understand that nowadays, as Sujoe has mentioned, the data sources can be many. It is like, if we are lucky, we will be like, we'll be having the structured data sources. Or, sometimes even the data sources will be very, very unstructured, like emails, Twitter tweets, or Facebook comments, etc. So it's a Herculean task to consolidate data from all these multiple data sources or disparate data silos. But fortunately, since SAP has a lot of offerings in these areas, and our analytics portfolio is in line with SAP's analytics portfolio, I will quickly, touch upon how we orchestrate our solutions, our department, etc. And we have mainly 4 service lines, like platform services, then data warehouse, ETL, and then AML solutions, and then ultimately the visualization side of it. So when we talk about the platform services, it mainly revolves around SAP's HANA database. And as I mentioned already, HANA is not just a database, it's a platform wherein we can create multiple applications. And at the same time, if you are having your ERP system, which is running on S4 HANA, it can be exposed directly for reporting using HANA CDS views. We need not, depend upon any other analytics solution. This S4 can be exposed directly using CDS views. Or else, if you have a standalone HANA database, you can even actually, expose that one using calculation views, etc. And with the inbuilt capabilities like SDI, SDA, you will be able to leverage or consolidate data from multiple sources and bring it into the HANA database. And then again, you can leverage on either CDS views or calculation views to expose it for reporting tools. And when we talk about reporting tools, we can use the preferred reporting tools or the organization-wide reporting tools. It can be either Tableau or Power BI or even SAP Analytics Cloud. Okay, so that takes us to the ETL level, perhaps the most important, and we all know that BW is the friend player over there, and we support all flavors of BW. And then the AI/ML solution. So here here our strategy is slightly different. We actually work with the customer, understand their problem areas, and we kind of formulate a problem statement and work backwards and collect the necessary data, and kind of make a model using open source programming languages like Python and R, and then feed this data to the model and train the model. And after that, once it is ready for the production, after our evaluation process and all, we can even encourage or deploy this one into HANA or SAP landscape. And then the last one, SAP Analytics Cloud or visualization area. We kind of support all flavors of SAP, like business object, Webby, Crystal reports, Excel sheets, even all the Excel sheets, Lumira Designer, Discovery, etc. And last but not the least, SAP Analytics Cloud as well.
Okay.
Yes,
so right. So it's all good. So again, hearing from what Sujoe said and you said, I'm seeing a common thread, right? That basically it's the artificial intelligence and machine learning. But I know these are, concepts that we keep hearing. Everybody is talking about it. Sujoe, maybe you can jump in here as well. But could you explain how these technologies can be used in an everyday scenario, and also how organizations can actually benefit from AI and ML?
Sure. Yeah. So prediction can be done in different areas, be it forecasting, how the business is going to go forward, and also being able to predict on different KPIs, different measures, but also in being able to understand how your customers are going to turn over, or if there's any churn, how do we predict that and be able to account for some of those. In some cases, we also look at how to predict cancellations, for example, for especially in a travel setting or in a hospitality area, right? How do we predict that? But also, how do we make sure have some prescription for that? What do we change? What can we tweak in our assumptions that will enable us to be able to catch those scenarios and be able to account for some of those, right? So these are some of the areas looking at the sentiments, what customers are really looking for in the business, in the offerings and such. And also, as Githen mentioned, there's a lot of unstructured data in terms of whether it's videos that are being used, maybe just customers free-form input. Now we need to comprehend all of this and then be able to look at the fundamental drivers towards customer behaviors and be able to account for that. Now, these are some of the customer-facing related. There's also a whole plethora of business side of things, the back office related predictions and forecasting that can be done.
Okay.
So, Githen, you want to go ahead with what your thoughts are?
Right. Thanks, Sujoe. And first of all, I try my best to scratch the surface of AI/ML because it's a very vast subject. And researchers in this field say that we are still in artificial narrow intelligence, and long way to go, before we reach artificial general intelligence. And we are not even in a state to talk about artificial advanced intelligence. So you can imagine, right? And even with artificial narrow intelligence, we attained self-driving cars, right? We were all excited or rather perplexed last year when MIT team had taken the picture of a black hole using advanced machine learning techniques. So, opportunities are many even in corporate world, industry. If we ingest this AI/ML solutions into industry, and we are taking baby steps in that area, right? And just to talk about how this entire project life cycle of AI/ML works, so first of all, formulating the problem statement or finding out the use case is the most important stage, and then we get into the data understanding using exploratory data analysis, or people call it as EDA. And we use mainly open source languages like Python and R libraries for data understanding, a beautiful library from Python, for example, Pandas. And then by using libraries like scikit-learn, which sklearn, which will provide a host of, a slew of algorithms, which we can just pick up and, build our models. And after that, we can fit our, identified data into the model or train the model and test the model using another data set. And again, to optimize the model, like overfitting, underfitting, and multi-collinearity, everything can be addressed. And as Sujoe mentioned, most importantly, the first version of the model is not the final. It has to be trained and retrained with the new set of data, especially with this pandemic. And most of the ML algorithms will be giving accuracy around 60 to 70%. It would have come down from 80%. So again, that retraining is more important. And even if this pandemic is not there, the data patterns may change. So that's a trend. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So, very quickly, let me just talk about how Tachyon, right, as we as a company, how we have focused always on SAP solutions. So if I can just go to the next slide, right there. So, we are very proud to say that, we always served our customers using SAP solutions. And we primarily we align with SAP's vision. So we not only have been focusing on the traditional SAP, which is your ECC, as we call, or R3 before that. We also very much align with the vision of SAP, roadmap of SAP, which is primarily two areas, right? Which is SAP Cloud and then S/4HANA. So we serve our customers using these. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that because we would like to focus more on analytics. And also we have, a lot of partnerships that we are very proud to bring to the table to serve our customers. Again, some of the cloud solutions like SuccessFactors, Concur, C4HANA, BW on HANA. So Calidus, in fact, which is a C4 HANA solution from SAP. So we're very proud to, let not only you today, but generally our customers that these are the kind of services we provide in the SAP space. So Githen, would you like to spend a little bit of time on the analytics capabilities, not only from what Tachyon can do, also capabilities of our teams?
Sure. I can talk about that one. And so to accelerate, customers' journey in this, data world using SAP technologies, we have created a couple of packages. Especially these packages are around the SAP Analytics Cloud. And the advantage of this package solution or any package solution is customers will be able to roll out their first set of reports within 2 weeks of their SSC license purchase. And also, this is really faster time to value. And on the other side, it goes without saying that no package can be one size fits for all. But since we want this package, we can tune this to the needs of our customer. Okay, so and another thing is, in AML area, we have some ready-to-fit models ready in sentiment analysis, regression, classifications, and image analysis. Okay, so when we talk about our people, any department's greatest asset is their people. That's what we believe, and we have a very well-balanced team of business analysts, data modelers, technical and functional consultants. Also, we insist everybody in our team to act as data evangelists and to be active in any one of the technical forums to publish their findings or their learnings. And we are very active in SAP community network as well as Medium. Right.
Okay. So let me actually jump in with a polling question to all the participants today. So let's do a question pop-up. And the question is, which of these business functions in your organization do you think can leverage data analytics at the best? So go ahead and answer that. As you're doing that, we would like to move on to the, let's talk about some of the case studies, Githen. So
sure.
I know we talked about, what SAP can do, what Tachyon can do, and we talked about the capabilities of our teams. So just walk us through, one or two examples of how Tachyon has helped the customers in analytics.
Oh, okay, sure. Here I will just stick to SAP world. Okay, so this particular case study is a company located in Hillsboro, Oregon, and they make a technology used by telecommunication companies in mobile networks. And they have been using their BW system since 2006. And BW system was holding huge amount of data, which in turn degraded the reporting performance. And they were looking for an efficient data consolidation layer for all their upstream reporting solutions. And we implemented the BW4 HANA, which was just released in 2016. And BW4 HANA 1.0 has been implemented in their premises, and it worked like charm for them. Most of their reports, especially the financial statement reports, were running around 10 minutes or 9 to 10 minutes around, and it has drastically came down. It has actually drastically came down to 1 or 2 minutes. Sorry, my power is gone. It will come back. Right. And then when we talk about the case study too, this is a customer located in Denver, Colorado, and they develop power and control technologies for the manufacture of semiconductors, flat panel displays, and data storage products. They already had HANA database in their landscape, and they wanted to integrate all their test stations. So you can imagine when you are in a kind of hardware industry, and there will be multiple testing stations, and each testing stations will be generating sensor data, and each sensor data will be having kind of record. So in this case, each testing station was generating around 1 million record on a daily basis. So they were looking for an efficient data storage to kind of push the data into HANA, or push the data very fast. And after that, the downstream data science team wanted to make use of, or access the data very fast for their data science reports or the Tableau reportings. Okay, so that is where we introduced HANA as a consolidation layer over there, and we leveraged the inbuilt SDI and SDA capabilities. And again, they were very impressed with the way SAP organized the HANA database for the SDA, and it had taken around 1 million records, and it took just 5 minutes to load one station records into the data on a daily basis. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that kind of covers what we want to cover for today, and let our participants know about the analytics space. So let me see. Let me actually take a pause here and see if you have any questions that we have from participants that you guys may be. Okay, hold on for 1 second. All right. So I think we have one question. Again, I'll let Sujoe or Githen, one of you, jump in. How is predictive modeling used to derive value or insight?
Okay. Githen, you want to take that, or?
Sujoe, you can.
Okay. So one of the use cases that it could apply is an IoT use case, and the solution involves monitoring multiple operational units that are dispersed geographically across the nation and also in Europe, and being able to combine the IoT data, which comes from different components within these units. There's about 30 to 40 different components that periodically send this data. Each of the data point, I don't want to go into the details, but has hundreds of dimensions associated with it. So all the data coming from all of these IoT sensors from different units, from different buildings that are being, and this is in an industrial setting, that comes from different locations, and now they all need to be put together, but also looking at the operations in those devices, being able to predict when a component is going to fail is a key aspect, because if any or certain of the components fail, it could be disastrous for other components, which could be much more expensive than having to replace it in a timely manner. So traditionally, we have relied on forecasting of how long a component can have a lifetime, but now it becomes much more imperative that because of changes in dynamics, because of customer behavior, because of systems that go through adaptation, there are dynamics that changes, and hence the models will have to be quickly learned in order to be able to predict certain occurrences of parts that will fail. The moment we get that signal, then we act on that particular position. Then it goes into a prescriptive phase where we say, is it better to change it or let it to die? Meaning, is it cost effective to just replace it immediately, or should we let it to fail? Because you might end up replacing a part that just shows a dynamic spike, but may go back to its normal operation mode. You don't want to be too aggressive in changing things, which will incur costs. So it's identifying that right balance between the two. And this was a use case which, if we have a higher signal probability that a compressor is going to fail, for example, then acting on it will be in the best interest. So identifying those scenarios, these are predictive solutions that have been put in place in order to predict such occurrence and be able to act on it in a timely manner. And being real time, that's when it matters most. And having the solution that can operate in a well-oiled pipeline makes a lot of difference. And being able to react to it, changing things on the fly, helps the business to operate much more smoother, and guaranteeing SLA, ensuring customer churn is kept to a lowest minimal as possible. So that's one some quick example of how predictive analytics can help in the bottom line.
All right, thank you. Wonderful answer. Appreciate it. We just have one more question, and I think we only had two. So the other question I have is, especially during this COVID time, I in the beginning of the webinar, right, I mentioned about how organizations were actually spending more, getting their analytics, implemented pretty quick during COVID time to make use of that. So, Sujoe or Githen, do you have any examples where companies have benefited from analytics? Any examples or use cases, especially with the COVID situation?
Githen, you want to go?
Right, I can talk about the SAP standpoint. Okay, so
sure,
yeah, sure. So recently we had we had an engagement with the customer, and wherein this particular customer was using their planning system, completely Excel-based planning system, and due to this COVID situation, it's all went haywire, and they wanted to have a centralized planning system, just planning system, not the consolidation, and always a cost-effective planning system was they were looking for it, but it should be centralized and authorization should be controlled. Everything has to be in place, as a centralized database system itself. So that is where we proposed SAP's Analytics Cloud, and its unique one simple cloud approach enables customers to have business intelligence on one pillar, and planning on another side, and prediction on another pillar. So the one product can be used to have business intelligence, planning, and prediction. It was never possible before. And this, for them, we had actually, implemented a centralized planning system, and which in turn actually, even planning at the department level can be, drilled up to CFO or CEO level. And with the inbuilt features of SAP Analytics Cloud, like simulation, value driver tree, even they can actually simulate and see what is going to happen if they actually cut down the cost at the HR level or the marketing level, or even at the sales campaign levels, etc. So that is, and it was very effective. It's very effective during their COVID during this COVID time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
One example, if you would mind. So this is in the travel hospitality industry, and as you can know, that was one of the hardest hit. And for an organization to be able to take the data that comes in that is available on the hotspots, and for the different hotel locations, to be able to do what-if analysis. What if we have one location, so X% of the capacity versus Y% on a different location? Being able to make those decisions, what if analysis, became very fundamental at that point. because that's when the dynamics, they should be able to, depending on the forecasted business value that they will be able to drive, meaning the eventual profitability of the business as a whole has to be understood. So that's one another area where it was, predictive analytics was very beneficial.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, thank you. Do we have any more questions? No, I'm just checking here. I think that should be it. So thank you, Sujoe and Githen, for your time and participation. Really appreciate that. And all the participants today on the webinar, I hope everyone who has attended has gained some knowledge into how analytics play an important role in improving business continuity, and especially how SAP helps with their solutions. We at Tachyon, love to host more webinars in the near future, especially on rest of the SAP solutions. And also, it's not only just the SAP solution, but we'd like to tie to a business problem, and then I'll kind of drive the discussion from that angle. So you're going to see more of those. So please stay tuned, and hopefully you're going to join us again on one of our next webinars. So until that time, thank you all for attending, and we give you 9 minutes back in your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you all. Yeah.